Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome to Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. My name is January Liddell. I am the co-host for Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, and I wanted to thank Helen Edwards for this amazing pink shirt. I'm so happy she knows one of my favorite colors is pink. And I love this shirt. Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, inspiring and awesome host. Yay! Thank you. Thank you, sis. Thank you, queen. I think I did the queen. Okay, I hope I'm on Facebook Live. Today I wanted to talk about what has been going on in my life. It's been very, I don't want to say public. Actually, it has been public. There has been a lot of things that have been posted, not on my site, but I wanted to just come on here and just share something that I think many of us women can relate to, maybe men as well. Whew. And I'm getting on here because it's a part of my own healing. It's a part of a story that we all can relate to. It's not just me. It's not just Sam. You know, it's marriage. Marriage is hard. Marriage is hard. So I am getting on here because it is healing. It's healing for me because it allows me to just release, certain things that have been bottled up in me, and things that are in my mind and in my thoughts. So the past month has been very, very challenging. Let me just tell you, today, okay, so not only has my month been extremely challenging, but today, as I was on a call, I was on a meeting, my husband came in and he said, "Where's the car? It's not in our driveway." And I'm definitely sure that I parked it in the driveway. So my heart dropped a little, and I'm like, oh my gosh, our car got stolen from our driveway. So I'm like, whoa, so that is what I was dealing with today, was thinking that my car got stolen. Called HPD. Thankfully, it was towed. But now I have to deal with picking up the car, from the tow truck and paying $175 cash, right? To get my car that was towed from my driveway. All right. So I got the car. Thankfully, cash on hand. I got the car. It's not the point. The whole point is my car was in my driveway and it was towed. I'm just going to leave it there. Towed from my driveway. Anyway, found out that another friend of mine who lives in the neighborhood, her family's car got towed 3 times from their driveway. So the question is, why are we giving, these tow truck guys authority to make, at their own discretion, tow, because they feel like it's violating, whatever law or whatever, so anyway, that is what happened today, along with everything else. I was sick Sunday, yesterday, Monday. Today's Wednesday. So I was sick these past 3 days. But now, now I felt the need to come on. And I felt the need to come on because I have been reflecting a lot on marriages, on my marriage, obviously. It's been a rough time. Let me just put it that way. And I say it with a smile because, not that I can smile about it now, it's that I am trying to find joy. Okay, so when we're all stuck in problems and issues and drama, right? It's hard to smile during that moment. It's hard to find joy during that moment. And I really needed to sit back and rest and reflect and do all that. And so when I got married to Sam, okay, when I married Sam, I was 28. So I thought I was, I don't want to say young, but young. I was still young. 28 is still young, okay? But when I was younger, I thought I was going to get married in my like earlier 20s, right? 25. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get married 25. I knew I wasn't ready at 25. I actually wasn't ready at 28. At 28, I'm like, ooh, I still have things to do, you know? But I did. I got married. And it has been a roller coaster. So our marriage has been a roller coaster. As soon as we got married, about a month after Sam deployed. So he deployed to Iraq. That was, 2005. Deployed to Iraq. And at that point, we're newlyweds. And so it was during that year we wrote a lot of letters back and forth. I think we had written letters prior to him leaving, and then when he was gone, he wrote me a letter every day. So every day that he was deployed. And that was hard. It was hard being married and him deployed during our first year of marriage. And so that was the start of it. Actually, there's more to it. I'm not going to share everything, but our first year of marriage, we were separated. And then every year after that, it was like almost every other year, he was deployed. So he retired in 2020. And that was our 15, 16 years of marriage already. Probably 15, because I remember it was like, okay, 15 years of marriage and 7 years, separated because of deployments. So we really didn't get a chance to be like normal civilian couples, right? So married military couples versus civilian couples, completely different. It's like apples and oranges, different scenario, different case. So throughout that time of marriage in the military, we went through a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of people getting involved, a lot of things said and done, and it was not pretty. Not pretty. Military life is one of the hardest, most challenging lives to be in. Okay, so I'm reflecting my life as a military wife. I was fortunate enough that I actually did not leave as often as most military families do. We actually were able to be stabilized here in Hawaii. The only time we left was when we left to Texas, and that was our first PCS and our last. So that was nice because it wasn't a constant moving around. And I cannot imagine like the constant transitions that majority of military families have to go through, because it's a lot, and it's very it weighs heavily on on not just the wives but the children as well, and having to make new friends. And although it's exciting and it's new, I don't know about you, but I know for me, transitions are hard. They're hard for me. It takes me a while to get situated and to get comfortable, in my space. We have been home for the past 2 years, and I'm still not comfortable in my own space, in my own house. We're getting there. There's been a lot of renovations and things to do, but we're getting there. So back to military life. Now, not only was military life challenging for us, but Sam also had a childhood that was challenging for him. So he had, and I'm sure, all of us had challenging, childhoods, childhoods, child, it's childhoods. I probably said that wrong, but we all had challenging childhoods. And, our parents are not perfect. We're not perfect. Raised by humans, right? Humans who make mistakes, humans who, don't know, they didn't have a book, to learn from and to, how to parent and how to be a better whatever to each other, like there's all these different things. Anyway, my whole reason for coming on here is that we all come from different backgrounds. Even if we're like same ethnicities, we're still raised differently. We're still brought up, with different agendas, different standards and all that. And, that one of the killers of being in a marriage or being in a relationship are expectations. That is the number one killer of relationships, our expectations. And we expect the other person to act how we want them to act, to be how we want them to be, to respond how we want them to respond. And when we expect that of that person, it just is a recipe for disaster. And that is something that we're still learning as a couple. I'm still learning, to let go of expectations. And we've heard of that before, time and time again. Let go of expectations. And it's easier said than done. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that I did mention like our standards, right? We each have our own standards, our own agendas that we want or view or perceive in a relationship, in a marriage. And when our standards don't meet reality, then disappointment sets in, right? So we got to let go of our standards. We've got to let go of our, much like expectations, but standards and agendas. Life is not a sitcom, unfortunately. Life is not TV. It's not the movies. We are human. That's all I can say. We are human. And people are going to act and react in a way that they were taught, in a way that they grew up, in a way that, whatever happened that day, right? We all have our filters. Everybody. We're not immune to that. We all have our filters. So I'm going to take you to this documentary that I watched, which is kind of what ignited how I'm feeling. So like I said, tough time with the marriage, right? But we're hanging in there. So anyway, I saw Malice in the Palace. Don't know if you've ever watched that. It's on Netflix. And the reason why that got me reflecting on our marriage and relationships is because it is about psychology. And Malice in the Palace, if you don't know what that is, it happened in the 90s between Pacers and Pistons. It was this huge brawl that happened because, and this is my own personal opinion, Pacers were winning. So Pacers were winning. They were in Detroit's home court. And it's already brewing, right? There's this rivalry between Pacers and Pistons. And it was brewing because of the media, because of the games, whatever. And so it's growing. This like anger, this rage is growing. Okay. And so now Pacers are in Detroit's home court, the Palace, and Pacers are winning. Oh, wait. Yeah, Pacers are winning. The Pacers are winning, Indiana Pacers. And but you have a bunch of like, I don't want to say hotheads, but they're hotheads, but there's a reason between why they're hotheads. So these guys that are there that also come from different backgrounds, okay? And I think a bunch of them are from the street, right? So they have a different lifestyle, right? A challenging lifestyle. So now you have like the Pacers are winning, right? They're up 15 points. So it's getting a little emotional, not a little, a lot emotional, okay? And so a lot emotional. And when emotions get heightened, then, and there's drinking involved as well, then that creates nothing but, well, the complete opposite of love and affection and all that, right? So anyway, long story short, okay, so if you want to watch it, Malice in the Palace, really interesting documentary, and it really does touch on the psychology of where everyone's head was at, during that time. And I had no idea that Ron Artest actually had a mental issue. I just thought, he was an angry man, and that's all that we labeled him. I was also young, right? So we labeled him as an angry man, but there's a reason why people are the way that they are, right? It's not, they didn't just like grow, or they weren't born like that. It was something that had happened to him, created him to be the way that he is. So he was actually seeing a therapist. And anyway, it brought me to, my husband. And I'm going to divulge now, that he does have some PTSD. And I don't want to say some, he has PTSD. So my husband has PTSD. Somebody who's been deployed that many times, is bound to have PTSD, and also, everything that has happened right in his life, some form of PTSD. So we are dealing with that at this very moment. Something happened last week, and it kind of propelled us to be where we are right now. And I know I'm not the savior. I cannot save him. I know I can't change him. And I'm not here to change him. And I think about, well, why did I get married? Why did I choose to marry him? And even that, there was a challenge, during that time as well. Why did I choose to marry him? And at the end of the day, I love him. There's really nothing more and nothing less. And I love him. And that's a switch that I cannot just turn on and off. Do I want to divorce him? Oh, yes. Yes. Multiple times I've been wanting to divorce him. And I've talked to many other couples who have had that same sentiment. Do you want to divorce your spouse? Yeah. Many times you want to divorce your spouse because it's too much. It can be too much, right? And it's easier to feel and to think of me, because that's pretty much the culture that we live in, is like, what about me? What about me? But as a Christian, somebody who has faith, who believes in God, I'm drawn to family. And, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. This is what has propelled me. What has propelled me is that, and I know people have said, well, you can't just stay married for the kids. Yeah, that's true. You can't. I mean, it's challenging to stay in a loveless marriage, right? And just stay for the kids. I can understand that, and I respect that. And I respect if you want to get a divorce, that's it's your life. At the end of the day, it's your life, right? But for me, I see my children and I see like if they're witnessing and they're seeing, everything that's going on. And what is it that I want to impart to them? And how do I want them to be partners to others? And how do I want them to be towards others? So that's one of the things that I'm reflecting on, right? And the other thing is I did file for divorce. Okay, so I filed for divorce in October of 2013. So I did file for divorce. Didn't go through that. I decided to stay. I decided I was gonna try again. Okay, so that was 2013. When I made that decision, I really I stood by it. I stood by that decision because I do love him, and I really wanted my family to be whole. We are a broken nation. We really are. We are broken people. I don't think there's a soul that can say they're not broken or haven't been broken. We are broken people. I am a broken person. And not the challenge, but how I want to live my life is not broken. Okay, so how I want to live my life is that I can create it the way I want to create it. And I believe many of us are doing that. And I applaud you because you are choosing the life that you want to live. So for me, how I want to live and how I want to how I want, I guess, my future to be is that my children are healthy. That's number one. My husband is healthy. I don't know if we can ever get rid of PTSD. I don't think we can. I think there's a way to navigate and to work with PTSD, but I don't know. This is my first rodeo. So I'm going to need help. I'm going to need grace, when that time comes, and I'm going to need prayers, because I have been dealing with somebody with PTSD. It's not just diagnosed now. It has been there. So, took the vows, right? Those vows are for better, for worse, for sickness, for in health, for richer, for poorer. Now, didn't say those words just for fun. I didn't say those words just to, just to one day say, okay, I'm going to call it quits. Who knows? Okay, who knows what will happen? But at this moment, I want to stick by my vows. So I'm sticking by my commitment. And I'm sure most of you know, I try my best to stick to my commitment. I try my best to, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And that has usually been the case for me, okay, is I follow through with what I say I'm going to do. Is it going to be easy? No. As you know, my marathon training is non-existent at the moment since I am recovering and doing my rehabilitation program. So is it going to be easy? No, it's not going to be easy, but is it going to be worth it? I hope so. I hope so. But that is where I am with my thoughts on marriage is hard. Marriage is hard. Marriage is hard, especially, well, it's hard, period. It's hard. You have two different people with two different scenarios, two different livelihoods, two different thoughts, two different perspectives, and you get them together and you expect them to live in peace and harmony. Oh no, that is not the case. um so, and I know, I've read the Bible and it says that in this world you will have problems. That is true. We will have problems. So we're not immune to them. So Sam is getting help, thank God. So he is getting the help that he needs. And all of us are actually seeing a therapist. So Junior is seeing one, Nina is seeing one, and I am seeing one. Now, the reason I did that is because I feel it's vital for us to share our thoughts with a professional, somebody who can guide us and really, talk with us and listen to us. They've actually been seeing a therapist since 2020. So, and the reason why I did that was because COVID. And I felt like, we're all kind of going cuckoo during lockdown. And I wanted, and I felt that it was important for them to each see a professional. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, don't know if I'm doing this right. I have no idea. Maybe it's wrong, but at this point, I'm just taking it day by day and I'm healing day by day. Thankfully, I'm not feeling as bad as I was on Sunday or Monday. I was achy body pain, everything, but I'm now in a much better place to come on here and say, hey, I'm here. Anyway, I don't know how long I've been talking, but thank you so much for joining Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. I'm so happy that you were able to join me. Thank you again to the listeners. Helen, I miss you, but we're going to do a dual podcast again. I know she's going through her own things as well. So I just want to send her some positive vibes and love. And to every one of you that's listening, I appreciate you. I appreciate your willingness to listen and to hear and to understand. Thank you so much to everybody who has shown me love through messages, text messages, FB posts, calling, visiting. I mean, all of the above. I appreciate you all. Please pray for my family as we navigate through this really tough time. It is now like official. Sam has PTSD. So please be with us. Please pray for us. Send us your loving vibes our way. Mental health is definitely something that cannot see. It's not a scar. It's not it's just something that is within us. So please pray for us. All right. Until next time, I hope you all have a great Wednesday. Aloha, everyone.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at SexyFreedomMedia.com.